Welcome to Your Future Starts Now, the go-to podcast for extraordinary women who are ready to step into their next chapter with authentic confidence. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua, empowerment coach, motivational speaker, children's book author, and girl mom. Whether you're a corporate powerhouse or an entrepreneur, this show is designed for you. Your Future Starts Now is more than just a podcast. It's a movement towards rewriting the rules of success for high-achieving women. Are you ready to get unstuck and step into your next chapter? If so, you're exactly where you need to be. Your future starts now. Welcome to Your Future Starts Now. I'm your host, Gia Lacqua. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Kate McKay to the show. Kate is an international best-selling author, transformational speaker, athlete, podcaster, and multi-million-dollar business owner whose passion is to spread her message of living a life of confidence, courage, and impact. Kate, welcome to the show. It's great to have you join us today.
Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and, so our listeners can get to know you a little bit better. What led you to the work that you're doing today?
Yeah. So which chapter, right? It's just the beautiful part about life, right? We have this whole alliteration of coloring an amazing life through a book of all different chapters. So I don't know, we can start at 1 or 5 or 7, but I would just say that mostly I'm deeply committed to helping people tell their stories and to create space so that we can break through psychological limitations and be the person we came here to be. And I think the most important thing, especially as we're moving into rapidly changing times with the election and everything else that's going on in the world, is that we don't have time, that there is a sense of fleetingness in our lives. And I have true experiences of that, in particular, the loss of my son in 2017. I just have to, for some reason, I'm compelled to start with that story because it is my urgency that life is fleeting and we have to embrace what's beautiful and also understand that we are here to make impact, and it's through our mess. It's not, we have to heal our mess and then we can do the work that we need to. It's heal and grow and make impact through your mess, because your mess is your magic. It truly is.
I love that. And I'm so sorry for your loss. And thank you for sharing that story. I mean, I love how you say your mess is your magic, because sometimes we look at, the things that we've been handed in life, and it is easy to fall into that despair, right? And say, look at all of the terrible things. But to your point, how do we make something beautiful out of it? How do we create impact out of that?
Right.
So,
and not just personally, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's not about our own mess. It's how we make mess in the stories of the people around us. I think that in many ways, this self-help and I have to heal myself and this empowerment language has limited our capacity to have the impact. And, I talk about it, balance is BS, that if anyone told you that you can balance your life, they are lying to you, because there is no such thing as balance. Even, we have a state of equanimity if we're talking about Buddhism or, being present or all these things. It's forever changing, right? If we're on a balance beam and we're moving left to right, it's not balanced. If we're trying to attain it, we're going to be balanced when we're dead. You're going to be really balanced when you're dead. And it's my goal to wake people up. And, I may offend you. You may not, be like, oh, Kate, there's something about her, but I am here as a heartfelt messenger of your brilliance. And sometimes it may come wrapped up in a little bit of sandpiper.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes those messages are tough to hear, right?
Yes. I wish I had me when I was growing up. I grew up in a very large family. I'm one of 9 children. And so I'm 6 of 9. And I think it explains a lot my personality because I'm extraordinarily adaptable. You could put me anywhere and I'd be like, figure out how to go, whether it's in inner city or in the middle of the woods, whether it's at some black tie or whether I'm just homing it out with the brothers, right? I feel really comfortable in my ability to be so adaptable because the truth is this, there's an eternal curiosity within me about connecting with people's stories and being able to see who they are, I believe we're all just powerful mirrors of other people's greatness. That's my job here. It's my job as a coach. It's that my job as a speaker and as a podcaster is to be a powerful mirror, that everything just comes through me. And I think that that's the tragic thing, honestly, Jeb, is that when you lose someone you love and people say, oh, you become better and time heals all wounds. And you hear that a lot, actually, and which I believe at one level is true until it comes to losing a kid. Like all the stories of like, oh, you're going to get better. The lesson's going to be worth it because you'll figure out. No, it's not. Like you lose a kid. No, it's not. And I'm saying that with laughter because it's legit true that a part of you dies and yet you must persevere. And I'll tell you the reason why. And I think why it's my passion to continue on and ignite people is because how disrespectful would it be to my absolutely angelic child, my son Will, to do anything but? It's absolutely untenable. It was absolutely untenable when Will made his choice. His name was Will. He had free will to do what he did. I truly believe that. We don't have it. I don't have attachment. He was in a Buddhist monastery. He was going to be a monk. Like it wasn't like he was, by all appearances, some tragic person. It was he made a choice that he was complete at 22. It's messed up. But if I had any way put ego attached to it and said, I could have been a better mom, or, all the things that goes through our head, and society blames the mother. It blames the mother. I just never took that on. I was a friggin' awesome mother to Will. I love that kid. Yeah. And in fact, when he came back from the monastery, he used to journey. He would love to travel and meet people. And he was quiet and poetic and super artistic. And he was absolutely gorgeous. He was 6 foot, blonde hair, blue eyed, gorgeous body. I mean, he was just like hot, but he was an incredible athlete and also a musician, but also a studier of people and very, very deep. And so when he came back from the monastery, I'm like, buddy, you got to tell me where you are. I got my mommy GPS on. I got to know where you are and make sure you're okay. And he looks down at me with this grin. And he said, Mom, I'm always going to be okay. I'm always going to be okay. And I was like, I know, baby. And we hugged. So that's what I carry. I know he's okay. And, he probably is thinking why are you all suffering? But I would say that, it's not to say, oh, I'm at peace with it in the sense of I'm all chill with it in that way. But in a way, and again, a piece of me's died, but also true that I'm here to bring Will's light through my energy. I'm here for that. And it's never been a confusion for me ever.
Yeah. Yeah. You've made it your life's mission and purpose. And it's literally every mother's worst nightmare. Right. And so, the post-traumatic growth of, you're now, to your point, you continue to move through the pain. Right. But, and look at all the things you're able to also do at the same time to bring light to the world.
It's a conscious decision. Every day I'm like, I could die. And I'm not talking morbid. I'm a Leo. I'm here to be the life, But I think to myself, I could die. And then I'm like, God, here I am. Right? Because it's from the ultimate surrender that we're able to serve. And I know that more than most people because I don't have attachment to things or even people. I think that it's an interesting perspective that it's easier for me to let people go that maybe don't resonate with me, or it's not to say that I don't care about people's opinions. I totally do. But I also understand the transient nature of relationships, that I'm not going to hold on relationship because they're my family or they've been my best friend for this long. Relationships meaning is not measured by length. It's why do we always say, oh my God, they were married for 30 years or 50 years? Were they happy? Were they able to contribute as a couple to society to improve the world? Partnerships are here for the growth of each partner and obviously the growth and the learning, and that's painful. And yet I think we have to
Mhm.
measure the meaning of relationships in a different way. And I think younger people get that way more than my generation, because I'm like at the bridge of baby boomer and Gen X. So I understand that both sides, and I hang around with Gen
Yeah.
Zs. So
Yeah.
keeping me
What a good
young.
mix. Amazing. So tell us, you focus a lot on agility. Talk to us about why agility is so important, what it means to you, and how perhaps your life experiences have influenced your perception of agility.
Yeah, it's a cool question. So, just listeners and viewers, what is agility to you? What does that word mean? And we just finished the Olympics. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's athletic agility. Yeah, absolutely. I almost got hit by a trolley when I was in my 20s. And I saw the driver like coming down, and his eyes were like wide
Mhm.
open, looked like he's seen a ghost. And yeah, it was me. I was the ghost. I was the potential ghost, and I jumped out of the way, and I saved myself there. But I bring that up as like the physical agility, right? Because I've been lifting weights since I was 22, and I've competed in bikini competitions for 17
Mhm.
years. So 43, I started after I had my three kids, and so obviously I believe that to be agile is important to enjoy life. I don't want to lump through the end. I want to saturate and squeeze every drop out of it all the way, and living fully in the physicality of who we are. It's the gift we were given, and to put your body and its unique gorgeousness on the back burner is a horrific concept to me. Our society is,
Mhm.
I can't even like necessarily sit in public places, because I just walk by, and people walk by and I see them all in such pain, right? From injury, from being overweight, from not moving the gift that God gave us, this unique, beautiful
Mhm.
gift. So that's the really important part of the physical agility. But the part that I really focus on in the new book that's coming out, The Agility Mindset, is that agility really is about resiliency, yes, right? But it's also about psychological fortitude. And that's a big one. Write that down, you guys. What does it mean to have fortitude? We hear mental fortitude, but I like that concept of psychological fortitude, psychological being your emotional and mental bridge. And what is your deep foundation that you are unshakable? And how does that resonate? How does that relate to agility? Well,
Mhm.
without having psychological fortitude, there is no way in hell's creation that I would have been able to rise after my son died. I was able
Yeah.
to be and it wasn't just resiliency. I had psychological fortitude to get up a hot mess and say, there is more than this. There is more than this. His life meant more than this. My life meant more than this. And so that comes from a source that I believe we all have, and men and women. And yet I think that we put that on the back burner in a culture that's made authenticity and inner child healing and all these other important qualities. We put that above the absolute requirement for psychological fortitude. Life's going to knock you
Mhm.
down. Things are changing very rapidly. And if we're not modeling fortitude for our children and our community, people are going to be lining up behind me and you, Gia. Right? It's the people who have psychological fortitude when things go down or when we have challenges, and we will have challenges. We've had a cakewalk for years. And I know a lot of people are struggling. There's a lot of anxiety and depression. And yet at the same time, a lot of that is because people are living unfulfilled lives. I'm here to wake
Yeah.
people up. Let's wake people up, Gia.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, especially in those times in life when you do get knocked down, I think it is important to think about what is the meaning of this experience, or what is the purpose of this experience, and really getting curious about it, as opposed to sort of either dismissing it or wallowing in it. To your point, how do we get curious about what is the meaning of this? What is the purpose? And using that as a catalyst,
Mm,
right, for growth.
yeah.
I think that is a really important point.
And looking at being curious, but also understanding and putting words to the feeling, which is that sucked. We're in a
Yes.
society that even women process emotion. They're processing intellectually and then emotionally. Women have become far more calculated like men instead of responding authentically. What does your heart tell you? And we're looking at it now and filtering it through the intellectual mind instead of saying, oh, that didn't feel good. That didn't feel good. Why is that not feel good? And then being curious about where you feel emotion in your body, and stop lying to yourself. If there are people in your life that make you feel less than who you are and who you came here to be, tune in, because that's your compass. And I'm not saying you let your emotions override. I'm not even talking about necessarily just your emotion. I'm talking about your psychological awareness, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That's what I'm talking about. And words and being able to rationalize or come up with a study or use this all the new age, that's out there in the self-help. I'm part of a system in the self-help business of it's a broken system. We've outgrown it. And I think we're going to see that. And that's why I mostly coach men, because I coach women and men as a high performance coach. I'm a certified high performance coach. So science-backed, research-based, I'm a total nerd. I am the biggest nerd. I tell people all the time, I'm way smarter than I am cute, because the bottom line is that we have to understand our psychology, and our psychology is the webbing between that. If we hijack our emotions and let it rule us in a way, or if we hijack and let the intellectual, then we're giving ourselves a disservice in the people we serve. And that's when we fall into the mediocrity trap.
Yes.
Mediocrity. That's the kiss of death.
For sure. And I want to go back to something you said earlier, which I think ties into settling, which is balance is BS, right? So I want to go back to that statement and explore with you. Tell us a little bit about, and I think a lot of women have that feeling of this is unattainable. It's a complete farce, right?
Yeah.
And, so if not balance, then what?
Yes. So first of all, it's okay to say, I just simply cannot do all of this. This is a joke. This is a joke. And I will say, one of my greatest magics, one of my greatest tools is I laugh a lot, because laughter relieves tension. And, it's something like the average child laughs 400 times a day and the average adult laughs like 8 times. That's pathetic.
Yeah.
So kids are laughing at the most ridiculous. Watch what children laugh at. And we become in our lives, that's not appropriate to laugh at that. If a little kid will be like, you have a booger in your nose. Well, how many people do you see out in public and they get a booger in their nose and no one's telling them, right? You know what I mean? It's like that honesty. And honestly, when someone tells you of a booger, they're doing out of love. They're not like, like a kid's going to be like, well, that looks weird. Get it out of there. Right. And so I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? I'm bringing a light and a levity to it. So yes, balance suck. Yeah, you're overwhelmed. Yeah, you feel taxed out. Yeah, yes to all of that. And you're here to make impact. So get your priorities right. Write this down. Radical prioritization. God, self, others, or God, self, or God, others, self. Whatever way you want to do it, your vertical relationship and whatever your spiritual affiliation is this way. Know who you are and serve. And knowing who you are doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means I know what triggers me. I know, you're enough aware of what is not safe or safe. And yet you serve from the brokenness. We serve from our brokenness. Healing, self-work, and social work, you can do at the same time. You don't have to be fully healed before you get remarried or get married or have children or get married or all these things. No, there's no perfect time for any of it. There's no perfect time. And the reason why I say the whole thing around the balance is BS is that's the first pillar, actually, because I think we're sold this illusion. And what leads to, if we're seeking balance, we're seeking mediocrity. We're killing off pieces of our magic. literally killing it off. And ask any successful person, hey, you know, are you balanced? They're going to laugh in your face. Elon Musk,
Yeah.
are you balanced? Right? Ariana Huffington, Oprah, are you balanced? They're going to be like, right? If they're really honest, right? If they're really, really honest. But I would say the goal is to focus on impact over balance. Who are you here to influence and impact? Who?
Yeah.
In your community. A lot of women, they're very family focused. There are people outside of your own children that need love. I saw it 2 nights ago. I just started a theater class and we had to bring something that we love. And I brought the cover of my book. And I said, this child right here, Claim You're in a Warrior. My book, the picture of my son jumping off a rock into the ocean up in Maine. And I was like, this is the reason why. And this is the reason why I'm going to tell you some things and it's going to rock your world. And I'm going to laugh and we're going to bring some joy. But the class was so rocked that they had to take a break after class. And it wasn't because it was just a sad, tragic story, but this one young woman, I gave her a hug and scratching her head like I do with my kids, you know, like scratching her head. She's like mid-20s, like probably around my son's age, right? And she goes, Katie, it wasn't the sadness of the story. It was that we met Will. Like you literally, there was such beauty in the way you expressed the tragedy. Don't forget, in the mess, in this Instagram pictures of these engagement pictures and these perfect families. Really? This is like grown-up fairy tale. This is even worse than Cinderella because it's everywhere. Everyone's under the illusion. And I'm not saying it isn't that we don't have beautiful experiences, but it's more than the capturing of the picture. It's living the mess.
Yeah. So beautifully stated. And, you know, I agree that when we do try to do it all and have it all and live up to that standard that doesn't exist, what happens is we end up settling. We end up settling without even realizing 100%. It in all the different facets of our life, right?
Yeah, we park. Yeah, we park. And so where in your life are you parked?
Yeah.
I'm parked. We're all parked. I'm not saying I'm better. This is just my knowledge and awareness. And where do you need disruption? And that's why I say people aren't always going to love me, like me, but you're always going to love me. Yeah. I tell my clients that because I want for you. I don't talk about this because of me. I don't say, give me attention. I'm an introvert. Okay. I'm an introvert. I'd rather be home reading books and, you know, making cookies. And I'm like, yeah, life is cool. But God didn't put me here for that. He didn't put all this energy into that. He didn't. And I just want to share with you how I woke my kids up as an example. Is, you know, they're in that early teen years. Well, I think my daughter was 12 and then my boys were like 15 and 17 or something like that. And, you know, my dad's like, Katie, do your kids ever see like Minorities? I'm like, yeah, Dad, on Sesame Street, you know, because I lived, even though my parents were civil rights activists and Martin Luther King is a second God, it wasn't in my community, an all white Massachusetts suburb, right? And so I was like, that's disturbing, I thought to myself. So I said, I'm going to take my kids to Haiti. I just was newly divorced. And I'm like, I'm going to take them on a mission trip so they see the real world, right? And that was probably the most ridiculously dangerous thing I've ever done in my life. In retrospect, what was I thinking? Me and a girlfriend took our 5 kids to Haiti on a humanitarian trip, completely unguarded. We were living in a school, you know, that was fence guarded, but just so crazy risky. But the most impactful part of that trip, and I'm talking impact here, is that I was able to watch my children see the mess of poverty. And at the same time, see the joy of children and culture that had more happiness, more bliss, more love, more connection than theirs. That, my dear, is the mess. Don't protect yourself and your children from not seeing the mess. The story of Buddha is a perfect example. Buddha, I was brought up Catholic, but my son was in a Buddhist monastery, and then he saw God and everything. But the story of Buddha is kind of interesting because he lived in a castle. And when he was born, a seer said he's going to be a great, powerful leader in the spiritual community. Parents are like, no, he's a prince. He's rich. We're going to keep him locked in this fortress. And then he was like 18 and he ventured out and he saw people dying in the street. And he was like, what the hell? Right? And it took him on that journey to see suffering so that he could know love. Don't protect your heart. Don't protect your children. Don't protect you people from the magic of the growth, because suffering is healing. Suffering is growth. It truly is. It's the gateway to
100%.
our greatest impact in this
Yeah.
world. I truly believe it.
Absolutely. It's such great advice. I love that. And so powerful. I think it's hard, right, for people, especially when you're in it, to see it and to accept that.
It's awful.
But there's tremendous power once you come to realize that, for sure.
And then you realize once you're like, for example, it's like this story. I used to be a trainer, and I had a couple clients, and they were talking about the loss of their dog, and they were going on and on for like 20 minutes. And I'm sitting on the desk while they're going on and on about their dog. I'm an animal lover, so don't get me wrong, but they were going on, and then the dog died, and they were this and that. And I was like, yeah, my son died. And I just started laughing because I'm like, you guys are sitting here for 20 minutes talking about the love that you have for your pet that's dead in front of someone whose son just committed suicide. And it was like, we're lost the lens. And when I tell you I laughed about it, I was like, yeah, anyway, because the heaviness that they were living about the loss of their pet, instead of talking about the joy of their lives. And this particularly to women, focus on ideas, not other people. Focus on ideas and other people. When you start doing that, it may surprise you how much time you're actually spending talking about other people with your friends. Cut that out. Minimize it. Impact, influence, influence. Serve from your cup. And if you need support, you reach out to me. I got you.
Absolutely. I love that. And it's good to just be self-aware and catch yourself when you're doing it, because some of it's human nature, but I think the self-awareness, like you said, is really key.
And men don't as much. Men have things to teach women, right? Men get a bad rap in our culture, in a lot of ways. And so that's why I love working with men, because men need a strong woman in their life to teach them how to be more in touch, right? But I also learn how best the good things about men, which is they're more likely to talk about ideas, and they talk about sports and all that. But oftentimes when they're talking about sports, they're talking about other things. Mark my word. And there's something to be said for us learning from men so that men can become stronger leaders. Women, let men be men. They are different. We are different. Thanks be to God that we're different. And they have certain things that they do. They don't really talk about. And in fact, one of the cues, this is my last thing I'm going to bring up, because I have a whole chapter about it in Claim Your Inner Warrior. And it's like, basically when a guy comes home, or a guy, you have something you want to tell your husband or your partner, and you're going to go on and on and on about the story. Well, the guy is waiting for you to tell him the point of the story so he can help you solve it. So if you want to just have him listen to you, just say, babe, can you just listen to me for 10 minutes? You don't have to solve anything. And then the guy's like, phew, I don't have to solve anything. This is real science. If you tell a guy, baby, you don't need to, and then they can do their own, they'll half listen to you. They know you're just ranting, but they don't have to listen for the solution. Right?
Yeah.
And you know how women get so mad. I don't want you to solve it. I just want you to listen.
Yeah.
Tell them in the upfront, baby, can you just listen to me? That would mean so much to me. I love you so much. Then that's a help of the growth of a marriage, in a relationship. Because sometimes we just need to be heard and let it out.
Totally. Yeah. The emotional processing, right? And having someone hold that space for us.
And they can do it, but you have to give men forewarning.
Yeah.
And that's going back to what is the problem I have to solve. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. And so that's why I want to stress to you. I bring that up because there's nothing wrong with it. It's innately how different they're wired. And let's celebrate that instead of, complaining about it as much.
Yeah.
That's why we have girlfriends.
Point. One of the reasons, one of the many reasons.
Sure.
I love that. So Kate, what is one thing you want our listeners to consider doing differently or changing after listening to today's episode?
Oh, nothing different. Just be you, be the magic of you. Show the world the magic of you. And remember that your sense of deserving anything or feeling worthy may not be in the present moment, but you're doing it for the future you. The future you knows that it deserved it. Your present moment may not believe it. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. You're never going to have that moment where I deserve this or I'm worthy of this and now I'm going to take action. Move into it. Your future self deserves it and the world deserves what you got. So go and share it and go forth and prosper, all you beautiful peeps.
Beautiful advice. And as you know, we talk about success and redefining success on this podcast. So I would love to know from your perspective, how do you define success and maybe how has that evolved for you over time?
Success is laying my head on the pillow at the end of the day and know that I made a difference. And you know, and that's why I say every single day I ask myself, did I die? I could die today, or because like after that acting class and all those kids were so rocked and I was able to love on them, I know I changed their lives at a deep level. And it could be just talking to the janitor or making cookies for my janitor in the building. That's service enough. But measure it by what it feels to know that your job is well done and squeeze it out every day. Squeeze your good out every day and serve from that place. And I'm not saying from that place that women, oh my God, I'm doing everything for everyone else. Be who you are and stop playing the game of I'm giving it all away. No, you're not. You got plenty. Give more, but just take care of your body. Lift weights, eat well, get some sleep, have sex, enjoy your pleasures of life. Life is to be pleasured, and just keep going, keep having some fun.
So, Kate, where can our listeners learn more about you and the work that you do, or if they're interested in purchasing your upcoming book?
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in, you beautiful people. Gee, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for bringing the light and the knowledge and the wisdom that you share as a divine feminine. So thank you so much for that. And then I have a free course called Claim Your Inner Baddie. So you can grab that. We'll share the note in the link. But if you want to find me, I'm at I am Kate McKay on Instagram. Kate-McKay.com is my website. I love y'all. Remember, you have greatness within you. Be good, be great. Make today amazing.
Awesome. Kate, I want to thank you so much for being here, for sharing your insight, your expertise, and more importantly, your story, right? I think it's so powerful to hear other people's stories. And so thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your stories with us.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, you can visit my website at gialacqua.com, reach out on Instagram at gialacqua. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. This is Gia signing off with gratitude for your time and energy. Our mic drops, but the movement continues. Until next time, your next chapter is waiting. Take care.
That concludes another empowering episode of Your Future Starts Now. Before we wrap up, I want to thank this incredible community of high-achieving women. Your energy, resilience, and commitment to growth are the driving force behind what we do. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate it, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your feedback fuels our mission to empower high-achieving women just like you. And of course, share Your Future Starts Now with the extraordinary women in your life who are also on a journey of healing and empowerment. Connect with us on social media, share your thoughts, let us know what topics you'd like to explore in future episodes. Stay connected on Instagram at gialacqua. I encourage you to carry the energy of this conversation into your day and keep on supporting the incredible women around you. Until next time, remember, your next chapter is waiting.